Sickle cell anemia is a type of anemia. It is a hereditary disorder. Now, in order to understand sickle cell anemia, first of all, we should know the function of hemoglobin. We should know the structure of hemoglobin. Now, this is a normal hemoglobin. This is the adult hemoglobin, HbA, hemoglobin A. This is the adult hemoglobin. अब जैसे यहाँ पे दिखाई दे रहा है, इस हीमोग्लोबिन के पास, this hemoglobin is a large molecule, and this hemoglobin is made up of 4 protein chains, 2 alpha chains and 2 beta chains. So hemoglobin is a large molecule that is made up of 4 protein chains, and every protein chain is attached to heme molecule, that is iron containing red pigment molecule, and each heme molecule is attached to one ferrous ion. तो एक हीमोग्लोबिन जो है हमारा, उसमें 4 प्रोटीन चेन्स हैं, 2 बीटा चेन्स हैं, 2 अल्फा चेन्स हैं, 4 हीम मॉलिक्यूल है, 4 फेरस आयन है, and 1 hemoglobin attaches itself to 4 molecules of oxygen. And the main function of hemoglobin is to supply body tissues with oxygen. और ये जो हीमोग्लोबिन है हमारा, दिस इज फाउंड इन द आरबीसीज, दिस इज प्रेजेंट इन द रेड ब्लड सेल्स. सो इसलिए जो रेड ब्लड सेल्स हैं उनका भी मेन फंक्शन है टू सप्लाई द बॉडी टिश्यूज टू सप्लाई ऑक्सीजन टू द बॉडी टिश्यूज. Now anemia is caused due to the deficiency of RBCs, or because of the deficiency of hemoglobin. And anemia is a disorder in which blood is not able to supply sufficient oxygen to the body tissues. Now, sickle cell anemia is an hereditary disorder in which abnormal hemoglobin S is produced. So instead of this normal hemoglobin A, hemoglobin S is produced. This is an abnormal hemoglobin, and this hemoglobin S is produced that polymerizes on deoxygenation. These polymers distort RBC, which assumes an elongated, crescentic or sickle shape. Now, sickle cell anemia में क्या होता है कि ये जो hemoglobin है हमारा, this hemoglobin A, instead of this hemoglobin A, normal hemoglobin S, abnormal hemoglobin is produced. Now, ये जो abnormal hemoglobin है, इसमें the alpha chains are normal, but these 2 beta chains, these are not normal. There is mutation in these 2 beta chains. Beta chains में यहाँ पर mutation हो गई है. Alpha chains are normal, and that is why now this hemoglobin is the total hemoglobin is abnormal hemoglobin, and this abnormal hemoglobin is termed as hemoglobin S. Now, when this hemoglobin S is oxygenated, जब ये oxygenated रहता है, उस वक्त जो RBCs हैं उनका जो स्ट्रक्चर है दैट रिमेन्स नॉर्मल. बट जब ये हीमोग्लोबिन S जो है, व्हेन इट रिलीजेस ऑक्सीजन टू द बॉडी टिश्यूज में ऑक्सीजन रिलीज कर देता है, एंड इटसेल्फ इट बिकम्स डीऑक्सीजनेटेड. नाउ व्हेन दिस हीमोग्लोबिन S it reaches the body tissues, it releases the oxygen, it itself gets deoxygenated. Now जब ये hemoglobin S deoxygenate होता है, when it loses the oxygen, what it does, it gets polymerized. This is one hemoglobin S, this is another hemoglobin S, this is another hemoglobin S. ये सारा एक दूसरे से attach होके these hemoglobin S they produce polymers. और जब ये polymers बन जाते हैं तो जो रेड ब्लड सेल है उसका जो शेप है वो स्फेरिकल ना रहकर the shape of the RBC becomes sickle shape, C shape, crescent shape, जैसे वो दराती होती है, वो वैसी shape ले लेता है. It gets distorted. The shape of the RBC gets distorted. Now this RBC is termed as the sickle shaped RBC. So sickle cell anemia is a hereditary disorder in which abnormal hemoglobin S is produced, and this hemoglobin S polymerizes on deoxygenation. जैसा भी हमने यहाँ पे डिस्कस किया, this is the hemoglobin S. When it releases oxygen to the body tissues, when it gets deoxygenated, it forms the polymers. And these polymers distort RBC, which assumes an elongated, crescentic or sickle shape. और polymerization की वजह से जो RBC है उसका जो स्ट्रक्चर है वो डिस्टॉर्ट हो जाता है एंड द आरबीसी बिकम्स सिकल शेप्ड. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ अनीमिया इज कॉल्ड एज द सिकल सेल अनीमिया. और सिकल सेल डिस्टॉर्शन होने की वजह से, सिकल शेप्ड आरबीसी होने की वजह से जो सेल्स का, जो आरबीसी सेल्स का जो लाइफ स्पैन है दैट रिड्यूसेस टू 10 to 20 days. सो द नॉर्मल आरबीसी का जो लाइफ स्पैन होता है वो होता है 9 to 120 days. बट सिकल सेल जो आरबीसीज हैं उनका जो लाइफ स्पैन है वो बहुत कम हो जाता है. The lifespan reduces to 10 to 20 days. That means जो RBCs हैं they break. So the total number of RBCs reduces. The total capacity of blood to supply body tissues with the oxygen reduces, and that is why the person suffers from anemia, and the anemia is called as sickle cell anemia. Now यहाँ पे हम देखते हैं कि क्या हेरिडिटरी डिसऑर्डर है यहाँ पर. व्हाई दिस सिकल सेल एनीमिया इज अ हेरिडिटरी डिसऑर्डर. नाउ द जीन्स दैट आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द सिंथेसिस ऑफ बीटा चेन को सिंथेसाइज करने के लिए जो जीन्स हैं, those genes are present on chromosome 11. Now all of us know that in every cell of the body there are 23 pairs of chromosomes, 23 pairs of homologous chromosome. तो जो ये हमारा क्रोमोसोम 11 है, this is also one homologous pair. So the genes that are responsible for the synthesis of beta chains, the genes responsible for the synthesis of beta protein chains, they are present on the chromosome 11. So there are these are the homologous chromosomes. So there are two genes, and these genes are responsible for the synthesis of beta chain. Now एक जीन को देखते हैं. Now let's assume this is one of the genes, beta globin gene, responsible for the synthesis of beta globin chain, beta protein. Now यहाँ पर ये है हमारे bases. Now at the sixth position, at the sixth codon, ये है हमारे bases. Now at the sixth position, at the sixth codon, here there is adenine. Now यहाँ पे एक point mutation हुआ, and instead of adenine, the thymine comes over at the position 6. Because of the point mutation, adenine is replaced by the thymine. So because of this thymine, because of this point mutation, instead of glutamic acid, valine is produced. Now in the beta chain, instead of glutamic acid, valine is produced. So this beta chain, it becomes abnormal because at the sixth position there is a mutation, and because of the mutation, instead of glutamic acid, valine is produced. Now the beta chain is having the valine instead of glutamic acid. So this hemoglobin is termed as abnormal hemoglobin, that is the hemoglobin S. Now this hemoglobin S is found in the RBC instead of the normal hemoglobin, that is the hemoglobin A. Now जब ये RBC deoxygenate होता है, ये जब RBC जो है with the hemoglobin S, with the abnormal hemoglobin S, when it gets deoxygenated, when it releases oxygen and it gives oxygen to the body tissues, it itself gets deoxygenated. जब ये deoxygenate होता है, it loses water. It undergoes dehydration, and the hemoglobin S polymerizes, and उसकी वजह से जो RBCs की जो shape है that gets distorted, and the RBCs they become sickle shape. Now again ये sickle shaped RBC जब lungs में जाता है, again it gets oxygenated, it regains its normal shape, फिर से ये spherical दिखाई दे रहा है, but it regains its spherical shape, but it undergoes membrane damage. मेम्ब्रेन जो है, जो आरबीसी की जो मेम्ब्रेन है, उसमें कुछ डैमेज आ जाता है. Now this RBC again gets deoxygenated, again it becomes sickle shape. So this process is repeated many a times, and it results in extensive damage to the cell membrane. Of RBC, red blood cell. And because of this extensive membrane damage, the sickle cell RBC, it undergoes hemolysis, it undergoes breakdown. तो यहाँ पे बहुत जल्दी आरबीसी का रप्चर हो जाता है एंड द लाइफ स्पैन ऑफ आरबीसी रिड्यूसेस टू 10 to 20 days. So instead of 120, 90 to 120 days, the lifespan of this RBC, sickle-shaped RBC, reduces to 10 to 20 days. So क्योंकि लाइफ स्पैन आरबीसी का बहुत कम हो गया, सेल्स जो है आरबीसी रेड ब्लड सेल्स बहुत जल्दी बॉडी में रप्चर हो रहे हैं, उसकी वजह से टोटल नंबर ऑफ आरबीसीज गेट रिड्यूस्ड and therefore the patient suffers from anemia. So one is the excessive breakdown of these sickle cell RBC और दूसरी तरफ क्या होता है, ये सिकल सेल आरबीसीज जब ब्लड वेसल्स में जाते हैं, माइक्रोवैस्कुलेचर, वैस्कुलर रेफर्स टू द ब्लड वेसल्स, माइक्रो रेफर्स टू द स्मॉल, तो जब ये सिकल सेल आरबीसी स्मॉल ब्लड वेसल्स के थ्रू पास करते हैं, व्हाट दे डू, they block the blood vessels because of their shape. They are not able to pass through the blood vessels and they block the blood vessels. And जब ये blood vessels को block कर देते हैं, it results in microvascular occlusion और उस blockage की वजह से many a times organs are also damaged. It results in the organ failure also. So this is the mutation in the beta globin gene at the 6th codon, which results in the synthesis of valine instead of glutamic acid, and abnormal hemoglobin is produced. This abnormal hemoglobin results in the sickle-shaped RBC, and these sickle-shaped RBCs, they undergo extensive membrane damage, and because of which they break easily. Their lifespan is reduced to 10 to 20 days and they also cause microvascular occlusion. So this is about the pathogenesis of sickle cell anemia. अब इसके बाद देखते हैं हम पैटर्न ऑफ इनहेरिटेंस, कैसे एक हेरिडिटरी डिसऑर्डर तो है ही, बट इसका इनहेरिटेंस कैसे होता है. नाउ दीज आर द टू जीन्स ऑन द क्रोमोसोम 11 responsible for the synthesis of beta chain. Now one of the gene is normal, ये gene जो है normal है, and this gene is mutated. S gene is mutated. So this is a carrier father. Father is a carrier. Father has the mutated gene, but father is not suffering from sickle cell anemia. So father is a carrier because of one mutated gene, and similarly mother is also carrier because of one mutated gene. Now crossing over होती है. First offspring, both the genes are normal, so the first offspring does not suffer from disease, the offspring is normal. Second is a carrier because of one mutant gene. Third child is also a carrier because of one mutant gene, but the fourth child, both the genes are mutated. There is a mutation in both the genes, and because of this child suffers from the sickle cell anemia. So 1/4 of the offspring, they suffer from sickle cell anemia because of the crossing over between a carrier father and a carrier mother. Now coming to the symptoms and the clinical features of sickle cell anemia. Now sickle cell anemia, the RBCs on deoxygenation, they become sickle cell. And because of this sickling of RBCs, lifespan of the RBCs reduces to 10 to 20 days. बॉडी में RBCs का ब्रेकडाउन बहुत ज़्यादा है, टोटल नंबर ऑफ RBCs बहुत कम हो जाते हैं, and that results in anemia. And because of the anemia general manifestations, anemia results in weakness. Physical development कम होती है, there is a slow physical development and impaired mental function. Apart from this, because of the sickling of our RBCs, because RBCs का जो shape है वो sickle shape हो गई है, and sickle shape RBCs are not able to pass easily through the blood vessels, वो blood vessels को block कर देते हैं, they cause vascular obstruction. Now if there is vascular obstruction in the coronary blood vessels which supply the heart muscles, तो heart muscle को proper oxygen, proper blood नहीं मिलेगा, that can result in the heart failure. Similarly, if there is vascular obstruction in the blood vessels supplying the lungs, it can result in acute chest pain. It can result in infections like pneumonia. If the blood vessels, cerebral blood vessels supplying the brain are occluded, then that can cause damage to the nerve cells, and the damage to the nerve cells can result in paralysis and diseases like stroke. And apart from this, if the blood vessel supplying the eye gets occluded, it can result in the disease of eye that is termed as a retinopathy. So vascular obstruction होने से ये बहुत सारी serious problems हो जाती हैं. And sickling of RBCs also results in excessive breakdown of RBCs. RBCs जो है बहुत ज़्यादा break होते हैं. And जो breakage होती है RBCs की, जो RBCs का breakdown होता है, वो spleen में होता है. So there is pooling of sickle cell RBCs in the spleen. Spleen has to work. Spleen becomes overloaded with sickle cell RBC. उसकी वजह से there is enlargement of spleen, and over a period of time the spleen undergoes fibrosis. Fibrosis हो गया spleen में. The spleen becomes non-functional, and that is called as asplenic condition. And because of this asplenic condition, as the spleen becomes non-functional, the patient becomes susceptible to infections like.
So this is sickle cell anemia. So it is very important for class 12 Neet and AKTU. It is very important topic and it will come surely. So prepare it and please subscribe our channel. Okay, thank you.